الرحمن الرحیم وصلی اللہ علی النبی الکریم رب اشرح لی صدری ویسر لی امری واحلل عقدۃ من لسانی یفقہوا قولی. The theme for today is towards understanding Islam. There is a verse in the Quran in this regard. Inna ad-deena inda Allahi al-Islam. The only approved religion to God is al-Islam. Al-Islam literally means surrender or submission. So, submission is the only religion for both man and the universe. According to the Quran, Islam is the religion of the universe. The whole universe is following this religion or this pattern. Then, all the prophets were sent with this religion. Islam was the religion of all the prophets. It is wrong to say that Islam is the religion of Muslims or religion of Prophet Muhammad. No. Islam is the religion of the universe. Islam is the religion of all the prophets. Islam is the religion of all mankind. Then, what is Islam? Basically, there are two branches of religion: Semitic religions and Aryan religions. Aryan religions are based on the concept of monism, M-O-N-I-S-M, monism. And the Semitic religions are based on the concept of monotheism. In Persian, it is Wahdat-e-Wujud and Tawheed. Monism, although believes in God, but their concept is quite different from that of monotheism. According to monism, God is a pervading spirit. God is a pervading spirit, like gravity or cosmic rays. So, according to monistic thought, God has no personality. But according to monotheism, God is a person like ours. God can see, God can think, God can hear, God can do everything. So there is a great difference between the monism and monotheism, although both believe in God. For example, there is no concept of revelation in monastic religion, because when there is no God as a person, then who can reveal anything like sacred book? The concept of revelation is absent in monism. their concept is based on avatar. Avatar means God's embodiment. That is another thing. But in monotheism, there is the concept of revelation. It means that God reveals verses, God reveals His word, God sends His book to the prophets. Then also there are so many differences. For example, in monotheistic religion, there is the concept of the day of judgment. But in monism, there is no day of judgment, because day of judgment requires a person, a being, who can reward, who can preserve, who can persecute, who can see the record, who can decides. So when there is no concept of God as a person in monism, so there is no concept of day of judgment in monism. But in monotheism, there is the concept of day of judgment. God is the judge of that day. So according to monotheism, God is a person, God decides, God plans, God sees, God hears, God creates. God can do everything. So, although both the people speak this word, that is God, but the concept is quite different. So you have to know this difference. Otherwise, you will live in confusion. Then let us take the concept of prophethood. In monastic concept, there is no prophet. When there is no God as a person, who will send prophet? So in monastic concept, there is no concept of prophet. But in monotheistic concept, there is a concept of prophet, is the concept of prophethood. Here, God sends prophets with His guidance to man through His prophets. Then, in monotheistic concept, there is the concept of hell or heaven. According to monotheistic concept, present world is a testing ground. In pre-death period, we are on the test. And in the post-death period, we will be rewarded according to our deed, or we will be punished according to our deed. According to monotheistic concept, there is heaven and hell. Our present life is temporary life, and after death, our life is eternal life. Then there are three religions in monotheistic concept. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All these three religions believe in monotheistic concept. Basically, they were one and the same. But now, according to the Islamic belief, Judaism and Christianity both are not preserved in its original form. After their prophets, there were some changes, some alteration, some interpolation. So although their books are present in form of New Testament and Old Testament, but it is not preserved in its original form. I mean, it is not quite known whether what was the language of these books. It is not known. New Testament and Old Testament both are translations. They are not in its original form. But in Islam, everything is in its original form. Quran is the same book which was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Same book in the same religion, without slightest change, without any kind of interpolation. Quran is a preserved book in its original language, that is Arabic. Then I would like to say a few words about the teachings of Islam. It is said that Islam is a complete religion. Islamic teachings cover all the aspects of life. As a principle, it is true. As a principle, it is true. But also we have to add one more point. Otherwise, we will fail to understand the Islam. If you know the source of Islam is Quran and Hadith. If you want to know what is Islam, you have to read Quran. And you have to read the Hadith. Hadith means sayings of the Prophet of Islam. So Quran is believed to be the word of God, and Hadith is the word of the Prophet. Both are authentic source. Both are believed to be the authentic source in Islam. So if you study these sources, if you read Quran, if you read Hadith, you will find that there are hundreds and thousands teachings, but all these teachings are not one and the same. These teachings are of two different categories. It is very important to know this categorization. Some teachings are absolute, but others are not absolute. So one part of these teachings is real part of Islam, and the other parts of teachings is a relative part of Islam. Then what is the nature of these teachings? According to my study, I can say that there are two different principles applicable to the both categories. One is idealism, and the other one is status quoism. I am avoiding to use the word pragmatism. That is supposed to be opposite to the idealism. So here the difference is not idealism and pragmatism, no, but idealism and status quoism. In one kind of teachings, it is required that you have to take it as an ideal. Basically, this category is based on beliefs, on the belief system. So the belief system of Islam is its real part. It is based on some ideals. An ideal cannot be changed. But its practical form, but its practical category, but its practical teachings pertain to the other category, that is based on what I am saying, status quoism. For example, Tawheed is the most important belief of Islam. One American writer has rightly said that Allah is the most supreme concern of Islam. It means that Tawheed is the central idea in Islam. Tawheed means oneness of God. So oneness of God is the central theme of Islam, the central thought of Islam, the central idea of Islam. All other teachings are based on this central idea. So in oneness of God, there is no compromise. You have to take it literally. There is a verse in the Quran, Qul huwallahu ahad. Say that there is no God but one God. Or La ilaha illallah. There is no God but one God. This is the central theme of Islam. This is the central belief of Islam. So in this belief, there is no compromise. You have to believe it in its ideal form. Then one of the Islamic belief is based on prophethood, that Muhammad was the prophet of God and Muhammad was the final prophet. This is also an ideal belief. This also pertains to the ideal category. It means that you cannot change, you cannot compromise. You cannot say that Muhammad was a prophet of God, but there may be other prophets also. No, you cannot say like this. You have to believe it in its ideal sense. Muhammad was the prophet of God and he was the final prophet, without any change, without any compromise. This is Islamic ideal. Then let us take the belief in hereafter. You have to believe that after the present world, there is another world, that is Akhirah, world hereafter. This is also an ideal belief. You cannot change. You cannot accept any alteration. So one category of teachings is based on ideals, but the other category is based on practical situations. So it is not a real part of Islam, it is relative part of Islam. For example, in Sahih al-Bukhari, you know Sahih al-Bukhari is a very authentic book in Islam, next only to the Quran. So in Sahih al-Bukhari, there is a tradition. Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, says that in Islam, in the early period of Islam, all the revelations are based on basic tenets. In the early period of Islam, for example, in Mecca, only those verses of the Quran were revealed in which there is zikrul jannati wan nar, that pertains to paradise or hell. Such teachings. During that early period, no such verse was revealed in the Quran that don't commit adultery, don't take wine. No. So she says that if these verses were revealed in the early period of Islam, for example, in Makkah period, then people would say that we don't accept these teachings. We are not ready to abandon these practices. We are not ready to abandon wine. We are not ready to abandon adultery. So first of all, those verses were revealed in which there was that was based on simply on teachings, on persuasion. So first of all, only those verses were revealed in the Quran that pertains to the intellectual change, spiritual change in heart, change in mind. So when this target was fulfilled, when people were trained, when people were ready to accept other commandments, then it was revealed, don't commit adultery and don't take wine. And they accepted. So here you can see that in the first phase, only those verses were revealed that are, you can say, that pertain to the ideology of Islam. And all those teachings that pertains to the practices, these were not revealed during this early period. So first, Islam tries to build a mind. First, Islam tries to build a society. First, Islam tried to inculcate receptivity, acceptance. Before the spirit of acceptance, there is no use to reveal all those verses. Then there is a very relevant hadith in al-Bukhari. The Prophet of Islam says, referring to the rulers, political rulers, because always people are complainant. People always complain about rulers. It is a general habit. So Prophet said, "Addu ilayhim haqqahum, was'alullah haqqakum." This hadith you can see in Sahih al-Bukhari. It means that give to rulers what is due to rulers. Addu ilayhim haqqahum. Due to rulers what is give, that is Give. Give to rulers what is due to rulers, Due. Give to rulers what is due to rulers, and ask your rights from God. Wasalullah haqqakum. Ask your rights from God. This hadith clearly says that when comes the social affairs, political affairs, you have to be realist. You have to be patient. You have to adopt the policy, wait and see. This is status quo. As far as the belief system is concerned, you have to be idealist. I will repeat. As far as the belief system is concerned, you have to be idealist. You have to adopt a non-compromising attitude. You have to believe without any compromise, slightest deviation. But when comes the social affairs, political affairs, you have to be status quoist. But Islamic status quoism is positive status quoism. Islamic status quoism is a positive status quoism. It means that Islam believes that status quoism is not something as static. Not static. It is quite different from static. Why? Because when you adopt status quoism, at the same time you are living in a society. And you have adopted idealism in your belief system, in your moral values, in your way of worship. But at the same time, you have adopted status quoism in other affairs. For example, controversial affairs. So, but at the same time, you are living in the same society. Then what will happen? Every time there is interaction between you and others. So every time there is interaction, every time there are discussions, every time there are dialogues. So every time there is a process of silent dawah, process of silent dissemination of the teaching, process of silent dissemination of the teachings of Islam. So it's not a simple thing. When you are a true mu'min, when you are a true believer, and when you are a true muwahhid, you believe in oneness of the you believe in the oneness of God, you believe in God, you believe that God is all powerful, and you are observing worships, you are doing dua, you are living with high moral principles, and at the same time you are keeping status quoism in the society, then there will emerge another thing, that is interaction. And during interaction, there is a process of dissemination of your tenets, your belief. So what happened? What will happen? During this process, it is destined to be a change in the society. It is destined to be change in society. Every time there is an erosion, and every time there is a gradual change in the society. So after due course of time, you will see that the whole situation is changed without going any kind of direct action. This happened in Makkah and Medina. So without adopting the method of direct action, direct confrontation, everything will be changed. You know, there is a verse in the Quran, as-sulhu khair. As-sulhu khair. It means peace is the best. Conciliation is the best. That is, at the time of controversy, you have to adopt conciliatory course of action rather than confrontational course of action. Then let us take the other hadith. The Prophet of Islam has said, Inna Allah yu'ti ala rifq ma la yu'ti ala al-unf. God grants to peace which He does not grant to violence. It means that peace is the power, peace is the strength, peace is the process, peace is an action. So sulh means peaceful activism. It is not stagnation. So when you adopt status quoism, or in other words, positive status quoism, it means that you have adopted peaceful activism. It is not inaction, it is not cowardice, it is not passivity, it is not doing nothing. No. Positive status quoism means peaceful activism. And peaceful activism is very, very powerful activism. There are a number of hadiths and Quran that tell us that peace is more powerful than violence. Adjustment is more powerful than confrontation. Tolerance is more powerful than intolerance. Indirect action is more powerful than the direct action. Peace is more powerful than the war. So I can say that positive status quoism means peaceful activism. This kind of activism is based on love. This kind of activism is based on love, an ideological campaign. So it is far more effective than the violent activism. And the and Prophet's life is a great example to this effect. One scholar has said that Prophet Muhammad's revolution was a bloodless revolution. Bloodless revolution. What was the method of the Prophet? It was completely based on peace, on tolerance, on love, on compassion. If you take a copy of the Quran and you start reading, you will find the very first verse in the Quran is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So Quran introduces God as a God of mercy, God of compassion. So is required by man also. So I can say that Islam is a rahmat culture. Rahmat culture. That is culture in which there is a culture which is based on the concept of mercy, concept of compassion, concept of love. This is the Islamic culture. All those wars and violence which you see nowadays are due to deviation from the Islamic path. These people are not following the Islamic path. They have deviated from the Islamic path because Islamic path is based on status quoism in practical matters, in political matters. Islamic religion is based on positive status quoism. As far as the belief system is concerned, it is based on idealism. And as far as the practical affairs are concerned, it is based on status quoism. Then where is war? Where is violence? So Islam is a religion based on peace and compassion and love. Islam is a religion of peace in complete sense of the word. Those people who are engaged in violence, they have deviated the path of Islam. They have deviated the as-siratul mustaqim, that is straight path of Islam. All these practices are deviation rather than following. So this is the true picture of Islam. This is the real teachings of Islam. So you have to differentiate between two kinds of Islamic teachings. One that is real part of Islam, and the second that is relative part of Islam. In real part of Islam, you have to be idealist. But in relative part of Islam, you have to be status quoist. And if you adopt this principle, there is no violence, no hate, no intolerance, but peace and love. So Islam is a religion of peace and Islam is a religion of love in complete sense of the word. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين.